We're at that halfway mark of 2025, right? And we all set some really great, hopefully value-based goals at the beginning of the year. And you created some habits to help you reach those goals. Now's a good time to sit down and be like, are these still my goals? Like, am I just doing this because I set these goals and I'm just going through the motions? Is it really supporting my habit identity for who I am now?
We are Gold Ivy.
Our mission is to empower you to own and unleash your truth.
Stories of resiliency are gold, and ivy grows in hard places.
Those hard places are what creates space for light to shine through.
You decide what works for your daily life and how to transform our lessons into your gold.
This is Ivy Unleashed,
a Gold Ivy production. Who wants to know what I discovered that's an absolute game changer with my hormones, stress level, and quality of my sleep? I am not one to talk about supplements, but after learning all about magnesium, I have to fill you in. In May of last year, I tested my hormones and my doctor explained to me that most women are deficient in magnesium, how important magnesium is, and how the brand of magnesium matters. First, magnesium is involved in hundreds of biochemical reactions in your body. Cortisol regulation, take magnesium. Better sleep, magnesium. Muscle soreness and recovery, magnesium. Combat depression and anxiety, magnesium. The list of magnesium's benefits go well beyond those examples. I asked for the best brand of magnesium and my doctor said hands down, Smidge. She prefers Smidge because it's super clean and made in small batches. No fillers or common allergens and non-GMO. Smidge's magnesium is made with a premium form of magnesium called glycinate complex. After taking the 100 milligram capsule of Smidge Evening Magnesium every night for just a week, I noticed how much better I felt in the morning. Melatonin and other sleep aids can make me groggy or give me weird dreams. Smidge's magnesium has improved my energy levels, reduced my anxiety, and my digestive health has never been better. I do my best to take it every single night to keep reaping all the benefits. I'm telling you, Smidge Magnesium is a game changer. The majority of adult women are deficient in magnesium, and we don't want you to be one of them. To experience the health benefits of Smidge Evening Magnesium as soon as possible, go to getsmidge.com or find the link in the show notes and be sure to use code GOLDIVY10 for a 10% discount. That's getsmidge.com and code GOLDIVY10 at checkout and let us know how great Smidge Magnesium makes you feel as well. Let's talk about something foundational to your family's health that you might not even realize is an issue: your cookware and bakeware.
That's right. We've all heard about clean eating, but what about clean cooking? For years, we've been told nonstick is the way to go for easy cleanup, but what if that convenience comes at a cost to your health?
Exactly. Our friends at Caraway have an origin story that really hit home for us. Their founder, Jordan Nathan, experienced what's called Teflon flu after accidentally overheating a traditional nonstick pan. It turns out it only takes 2.5 minutes for those pans to hit 500 degrees Fahrenheit and start releasing toxic chemicals.
And the problem is these aren't just any chemicals. We're talking about PTFE, also known as Teflon, and microplastics that can leach directly into your food that you're preparing for your family.
These are forever chemicals, folks. They enter the body and can take decades to leave, potentially leading to serious health risks like cancer or respiratory issues. Reading the research from the American Cancer Society and Good Housekeeping Institute was a wake-up call to realize what might be hiding in our kitchens.
And that's where Caraway comes in. They're on a mission to craft well-designed home goods that truly raise the standards of what you cook with. They've meticulously thought through every single detail, from the unboxing experience to how their products store in your home. The look, the feel. We're in a season where less is more. It's better for your health. It's better to look at. You've seen Caraway everywhere, and it's for a reason.
I went with the squareware and cookware set. Not only is it beautiful, but the relief I feel knowing the daily pancakes, pasta, and protein I'm heating up isn't causing harm to my kiddos is priceless.
Caraway has revolutionized kitchenware by offering a non-stick ceramic coating that's mineral-based. That means no toxic materials leaching into your healthy ingredients. It's easy to use, easy to clean, and you don't have to worry about those forever chemicals.
So if you're ready to remove harmful microplastics and toxic chemicals from your family's meals and truly elevate your cooking experience, it's time to switch to Caraway.
Head over to their website today. You can find the link in our show notes. And for a special thank you to our listeners, use code GOLDIVY at checkout for 10% off your Caraway products. Make the switch for a healthier you and a healthier home.
And now to this episode of the Ivy Unleashed podcast. Welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. We are so happy to be here today. We've got a guest that we are so excited to talk about because habits are our life. They run our life. We're going to talk about habits today, and we have the best person here to help us with that. Welcome to Ivy Unleashed, Emily Nichols.
Thanks for having me, ladies. I can't wait to chat with you.
I mean, habits we talk about all day long. And I think it's something that people can never get enough of. Different viewpoints of it, different tips. And so today you're going to leave with so many tangible tips on how to habit hack your health.
Yes. And that's your podcast, Habit Hack Your Health. I love it. And just looking at the wide range of topics you cover, it's not every episode that you talk about is habits. It weaves it into it, but you talk about food choices and mindset and just a variety of things, which is wonderful because it's not just about the repetitive nature of a habit, right? There's so much more to it. And so first we want to get into, because there's so many theories about how many days you need to stick to a habit in order to make the habit stick. Is it 21? Is it 90? Like, what is it? And so let's just talk about habits in general and how much repetition we need to do to actually make something a habit.
Yeah, I would say it depends. It depends on the season of life that you're in, right? I'm sure everyone has heard, like you just mentioned, Andrea, oh, it takes 21 days to form a habit. Okay, great. I always say, well, it could take up to 90 for it to feel like a lifestyle, right? Like where you don't have to think about it anymore, where it's more robotic, where like I am creating this habit for this reason and I'm going through the motions. However, maybe it does stick a little quicker. It's a tiny habit. You're in a season of life where, maybe your kids are older. It's not as physically exhausting. It's more emotionally exhausting, but you have a little bit more time on your hands to commit to walking every day, right? So maybe it does take you 21 days, or maybe you're in a chaotic season of life and you're trying to create that habit of walking and you live in the middle of winter and it's just not happening. So it could take a little bit longer. So I always like to say it depends, but there's a lot of different habit hacking tools you can use to make that habit stick, whether it be short-term or long-term or whatever season of life you're in.
We love a good hack.
What is a habit that you are currently playing with now that you mentioned before we started recording that your boys are older? So you are in a different mom season of life. So what do habits look like for you right now?
I'm really digging deep into rest and recovery and sleep. All the above, right?
Yeah.
For me, I've been a fitness professional for over 10 years. I've gone through different seasons as far as coaching, as far as my own fitness journey. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can go hard. I can go a million miles per hour. I'm great. And I'm in a season of life now where I'm like, girl, you need to slow down. You're not seeing the results you want to see as much, probably because I'm not prioritizing rest. So for me, I'm collecting a lot of data. Like I just got an Aura ring and I'm already like, oh my gosh, my sleep score is terrible. So that's data for me to think about, okay, what habits can I start implementing to focus on rest and recovery? So it's been really interesting so far.
Yeah. What do those habits look like? I'm curious.
For me, it's going to bed earlier, which with older boys, it's a little more challenging because they stay up late. At the time we're recording this, it's summer, like they're going out with their friends. And, I'm not going to sleep till one of them is home because he drives. Like I said, it's much more emotionally exhausting, a little physical too. But for me, it's going to bed earlier, turning off technology, connecting with my husband, maybe just reading a fun book, doing a little meditation and prayer before going to sleep, and then using the data I'm collecting to be like, okay, I got better sleep. I coach really early morning classes as well. So I'm evaluating maybe pushing that back or eliminating a day or two in order to really just prioritize my health. So it's really starting with a couple of stacks at night where it starts really from washing my face, brushing my teeth, and it just leads into going to bed at night too. So
you mentioned the stack. We got to talk about habit stacking. We're talking about habits. I love habit stacking. And it's such a great little hack for people that they have so many different things they want to do. And they're not big things. They're not big time consuming things like brush their teeth, wash the face, read a book, go to bed, But can you talk about how you create your stack and kind of what a habit stack is and why it could be beneficial for someone to create one?
Yeah, I think sometimes folks get confused between habit stacking and multitasking, especially
Mm.
us ladies, because we are great multitaskers. We're great. I say that in air quotes because we're like, oh, I'm going to type this email. I got a ding-a-ling-ling on my phone from my girly text group. Oh, okay. I need to go put that stuff in the dryer. And oh, can I throw some chicken in the oven at the same time? Like that overwhelming, right? We already have all these tabs open in our head and we're trying to get everything done at once, but we're not able to commit 100% to each of those tasks, right? Because it's more of a distraction. Habit stacking is a way for you to stack a habit onto something that already exists. It makes it easier where eventually it's not another tab open in your head. It's not super hard to do. Like you mentioned, brushing your teeth. That's one of my favorite ways to habit stack because it's something I'm going to do no matter what. I learned it as a kid. I do it twice, sometimes three times a day. So I've created a stack for, gosh, probably 10 years now where I do prayer, gratitude while I brush my teeth because
Mm.
it's something I will do no matter what. And that eventually that just becomes a subconscious habit where I do it. Now, sometimes I'll add in some squats, some calf raises as well while I'm doing it. Especially I like to do that when the water's warming up for the shower. But it makes it where it makes it easy to do something, especially with fitness habits, because it's easy to be like, yes, I'm going to go take an hour workout class or do a workout from home. It's another thing to stack tiny movement in throughout
Hmm.
the day for even bigger impact. So it's not multitasking, it's habit stacking. So one, it kind of think of it as a waterfall. I brush my teeth, I say my gratitude that leads me into going to bed, maybe putting on a red light, reading a little bit, going to bed. And it tells my mind, this feels good. I'm going to sleep. I want to do it again tomorrow.
Hmm.
Yeah. As a coach, something I always say is it's that cue, right? That habit you already have. It's automatic for you, like brushing your teeth. That's just your new reminder to pair that with the new habit, because so often we say, oh, I want to implement this new habit, but life is lifey and you have a million tabs open, like you said, and how the hell are you going to remember? Right? It's
Exactly.
chunking that new habit with something that you already do, really to use as your reminder to make it more simple on yourself, I think. I love
Yeah,
those
I'm sure you
examples.
ladies have seen this over the years too, coaching other women, where it's one thing to be like, well, we know what we need to do. I want to do my
Mm-hmm.
mindset. I want to, work out. I want to make healthy choices for my body with my food. But it's another thing to actually do it. So as women, we have to do habits a little differently. And we have to have an actual cue, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, do the actual routine, the habit. But then the hardest part of creating like a habit loop, like we're referring to, is the reward at the end to sit there and be like, yes, like whenever I meal prep, whenever I eat that meal, I always say out loud, my dogs look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, thanks, Emily, from the past. You just totally saved my life here and saved me time. And I feel great. And it just reinforces and actually change those neurotransmitters in your head that this feels good. I want to do it
Mm-hmm.
again. And that
Yes.
third step is a step we often miss out as ladies because we're so busy celebrating everyone else and zipping through life where we can just kind of sit there for a moment or even I know at the end of the week, you've worked out so many days. That was your goal for the week. I'm going to grab a coffee or I'm going to buy a new water bottle or cute little new Pilates socks or something to just reinforce the habit even more. So, yeah, you have to have some type of stacks where it starts with the cue, the routine, but then celebrate the heck out of it on
Mm-hmm.
the other side.
She told me to buy a new water bottle. You heard that.
Oh gosh.
Oh, don't tell my husband I told you that.
Brooke is my
5 years old.
husband's cousin, and they have this obsession with water bottles. It is like they live for a good water bottle. So
It's a fun
I'm gonna
reward.
edit that out of this episode. um, so you said a cue that you're doing the habit, and then you're celebrating it. What about tracking? How do you feel about like how necessary is tracking? What have you seen? Does it depend on the person? Like where do you stand with that?
I think it depends on the person. I like tracking when I'm starting a new habit because sometimes I need the facts versus trusting my own feelings or the data versus the drama I make up
Mm.
in my head, right? So, say for the month of August, you're setting a goal to, get up and work out 3 days a week in the morning. Okay, great, you're tracking that. Well, you can maybe find some evidence that like Wednesday mornings don't work out really well because my kiddo gets up earlier that day to go to this practice, or at a certain time of the month when your cycle's coming and you're like, luteal phase is lutealing. I cannot I cannot. So you're able to track that data and be like, okay, well, maybe I need to adjust during certain times of the month or move this day for this day versus sometimes getting in our head where it's like, well, I wanted to work out 3 days a week all this month. And 2 of the weeks I only did once or twice. And it's like, well, if you have the facts versus, that all or nothing mentality sometimes we have as women, it will allow you to adjust and keep going with the habit versus getting caught up in our thoughts too. Now, tracking itself can be a habit that's tricky. You need to find what form works best for you. Is it pen to paper? Is it like an actual habit tracker, like spiral notebook? Is it like on your Google Calendar? Is it just checking off a list on your refrigerator or on your notes app? There's a lot of great tracker apps out there too. So you got to experiment with that and make a habit of it too, as far as, okay, am I going to track this as I do the habit? Am I going to do it every morning, evening? You kind of have to play with it, knowing what works best for you.
What does that look like for you in terms of the tracking? I know you just got the Oura Ring, like the data, but actually doing the habit because you enjoy it and it's helpful. So not just doing it to check off, to track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's leaning back into that reward again. Like it's kind of like, when you make a to-do list and you write something on there you already did just for the satisfaction of checking it off. I kind of think of habit tracking that same way, right? Where I check it off and I'm like, I'm really freaking proud of myself for doing this. But for me, I have to use pen to paper for habit tracking. I like the idea of like having a pretty pen, having a pretty tracker and tracking it and writing it down in different colors to make it more enjoyable for me. Whereas someone might like to have it on their calendar and use technology in that way. But either way, you have to really just, as you sign off on it, be like, I am so freaking proud of myself. That way you keep doing the habit of tracking as well.
Yeah, I know one of my values is consistency. Like I like to say I'm a consistent person. I follow through and all those things. But like the elephant in the room is, we're women with these cycles. You mentioned the luteal phase, right? We have these times where you're more likely to need rest and some when you're ready to go. And so I'm thinking of seasons, not only just like it's hard here in winter, but like these cycles and how do you help women when they're setting these goals, these monthly goals or these weekly goals when they have to factor in their cycles?
Yeah. First, just give yourself a little bit of grace because it's not just a physical, it's also an emotional, hormonal, mental thing that happens every month during our cycle. And we can get really down on ourselves, right? You're on a great strength training journey. And then 1 week you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so sluggish. I feel like I can't, meet or beat the same reps or weights that I did last week. And that's when sometimes we'll throw in the towel, right? So when things like that come up, the tracking will be really great to see, especially if you're tracking your cycle. I use an app for that for myself. It's like a free hormone horoscope because it literally says like, today you probably feel very irritable. And I'm like, I do. I do. And it just kind of validates the feelings like, oh, okay, it's kind of like that meme. It's like, wow, I was so impatient and mean to myself and with this. And then it's like, oh, I started my period. Okay. So it's just leading in with a little bit of grace and knowing during your cycle, there may be more time where you need to evaluate as far as what you're eating, as far as the rest, if something's bothering you, turning off technology, if that's triggering for you, social media in particular, and just taking those few days in the spectrum of time. It's not that big of a time span to really lean into a little bit more graceful movement, a little bit more time and closing of tabs as well.
I love that. I know a lot of the ladies listening, myself included, are going to want to know the name of that app. What is the horoscope app that you're referring
I
to?
think it's just called Hormone Horoscope.
Oh, I like it.
It's totally free. And yeah, Hormonology.
Hormonology. Wow, that's so good.
It's free and like you track your cycle, but like each day it has your hormone horoscope and it literally is like validating like, oh, I feel like I want to take a nap today. This is why.
Yeah, I saw this reel yesterday it was that guy talking. I shared on my story, which is kind of funny. That's a dude, but he said how women, we are so cyclical and 6 days out of the month, we're on fire, we're unstoppable. And then 6 months, we need to just rest and do nothing.
6 days.
6 days. Sorry. I wish. 6 days.
We're taking a sabbatical.
6 days just rest. And I'm like, can that be the norm? I'm so glad that you're talking about this because it is wild as women what our bodies go through. And yes, there is something about being consistent, but it also can make us sick if when our bodies are going through this time and we're just pushing, I think that it is that dance of you can get back to these habits. You can have the rest be a part of the habit, a part of the month, like you're sharing.
Yeah. Make it a monthly habit where 1 week out of the month, you're just being a little bit more graceful for yourself and listening to your body. Maybe it's more yoga that week. Maybe it's more outdoor walks. Maybe it's skipping that morning workout, and that's okay.
Yeah. And that's tricky, right? Like I said, one of my values, it's like saying I'm a consistent person, being a consistent person. But, that has so much to do with identity. And I know that plays into the habits that we set. And a lot of times I think what stops people is, especially for me, I'm like, I coach people for running programs and racing. And so much of people's identity is wrapped up with I'm a runner or I'm not a runner. And that can apply to anything. I'm organized, I'm not organized, or whatever. And so I'm curious, when someone really wants a habit that feels so far-fetched from the identity they currently hold, how do you help people kind of adapt that new identity or just start to play with this type of habit that could give them or shift their identity?
Keeping the flu and common cold out of your household is important whether you're 5, 35, or 95. And we're going to tell you the easiest and most delicious way to do just that. It's with All Things Elderberry, a woman-owned business that has all-natural, vegan-friendly, and gluten-free elderberry products.
And when we say products, we mean a variety of delicious and beautiful products, not just for you, but for your entire household to get an immunity boost. If we had to pick our favorite product, I'm going with organic elderberry gummies. My kids are obsessed. We're trying to avoid sickness from school and make sure they can participate in their sports. So they take one every morning before they brush their teeth. They think the gummies taste like a mix of grape and cotton candy. I tried them too, and I can see why they ask for them every day. I love that they're boosting their immune system at the start of their day.
My favorite All Things Elderberry product is the elderberry green tea paired with the elderberry honey. The green tea gives me a midday boost, and the honey gives the tea extra sweetness. I also put the honey in my morning coffee instead of creamer. So good. All Things Elderberry is my solution for staying healthy before traveling, avoiding frequent colds and sinus infections, really just maintaining my health all year round.
What sets this brand apart from the others is there are no artificial additives in All Things Elderberry. Their elixir is made with organic, Missouri-grown elderberries, raw honey, and whole spices.
Elderberries not only help with immune support, but may also slow the aging process with their powerful antioxidants, improve skin health, and can shorten the duration of severity of colds and flu.
Visit allthingselderberry.com to explore their full range of immune-supporting products. Stay healthy and feel your best naturally. Use our code GOLDIVY at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's code GOLDIVY at checkout for 15% off your first order.
We're coming at you with important information, warnings, and a solution. Sharing health and wellness gold with you is what we do. And so when we learned alarming information about devices that we routinely use, and we know you do too, we have to share it with you.
What most people don't realize is that the electronic devices we're using, cell phones, Wi-Fi, laptops, and Bluetooth, emit electromagnetic fields, or EMFs. The devices we're holding by our brains, on our skin, by our reproductive parts are emitting EMFs, and prolonged exposure to EMF radiation has been associated with potential health concerns, including neurological effects, impacts on reproductive health, and sleep disturbances.
Those studies alone are a cause for pause. But also, the International Agency for Research on Cancer that operates under the World Health Organization has classified non-ionizing EMFs produced by electronic products like cell phones, smart devices, and tablets a possible human carcinogen. Yikes.
And our solution? SafeSleeve. SafeSleeve anti-radiation products are designed to give you peace of mind of knowing you and your devices are protected while making your devices even easier to use. All of their anti-radiation products incorporate their lab-tested shielding technology that can block over 99% of RF and 92% of ELF radiation. And that's important because the vast majority of products that claim to block EMF radiation either don't have any testing at all, or they only block a small portion of the harmful frequencies.
We absolutely love the sleek look of these stylish products. They come in a variety of styles and colors. For our phone cases, I picked black, Andrea picked tan, and they include a built-in wallet, with RFID protection and a magnetically detachable inner case. They're also anti-radiation products for tablets, iPad, and laptops.
We are pumped because we have been looking for a brand to help protect ourselves and our loved ones from this radiation for months. My kiddos have the iPad cases. Searching for a brand with stylish phone cases, colorful iPad colors, and functional headphones for our workouts so that we can enjoy our devices but also not have to worry about how they're harming us.
And without a doubt, it's time to protect ourselves. Grab your Safe Sleep phone case today and any of their other groundbreaking products at safesleepcases.com and use our code GOLDIVY for 15% off.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I love to create a habit with my clients, is to first think about, what is your habit identity? Who do you want to be? Why? And what habits will support who you want to be, right? And I work with a lot of moms. So at first they're like, I want to be a patient and present mom. Great. Why? What does that do for you as well? Because a lot of times we get caught up in, this is what it does for my kids, because we're such nurturing beings, and that's okay. But we kind of dig a little deeper under the surface level. It's like, well, because I feel a lot more calm and my heart rate and my nervous system is not out of control all day because I'm living in a state of constant stress, right? Okay, well, what habits are going to support that? And a lot of times we just start with basic movement, creating small little habit stacks throughout the day where they're able to move more and regulate their nervous system more so they can be a more patient and present mom, right? So maybe it's, creating a habit where there's a cue on their calendar every hour to stand up and literally just shake their whole bodies and shake out all of the stress and regulate their nervous system, do a little box breathing, and then documenting how that feels, right? Noticing like, oh, I am more patient and present. My heart rate is down. I don't feel like I'm in a constant state of stress. And then that inspires them to do more, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, I want to focus on, getting in more protein, right? I want to get in more protein. Okay, well, how can we do that? It's like, well, every time I cook dinner, I'm going to create a cue of sticking some extra protein in the oven, because that's easy. I can just stick it in the oven while we're eating the meal for the day and we have extras for tomorrow. Great. That's another great habit. It's like, well, okay, well, now I want to focus on some more mindset work, or I want to, try to run a half marathon or sign up for a series of 5Ks. Okay, great. Well, what does that look like? You're doing those walks maybe to help with your nervous system. You're shaking it out. Maybe we start walking. Maybe we start jogging a little bit and increasing it over time. I think sometimes we try to do it all at once, and sometimes it's surface level goals. When we dig a little deeper, start a little smaller, then it will snowball from there. But you have to start with, who do you want to be? What habits will support that? And then dig even deeper first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think over time that identity can shift, and then it feels way more doable. Something you talk a lot about, environment, and as health coaches we do as well. How do you recommend your clients set up their environment for success? Can you talk a little bit about that? Some easy ways people can start shifting their environment to help them?
Yeah, I mean, I would really first start with who you surround yourself with, for sure. Who you surround yourself with. What are you looking at on social media? You can train your algorithm. I've actually created a habit of searching things that are within my values and goals on TikTok or Instagram. That way I'm seeing more of the things I want to see that help support my mindset and my well-being. But also, I would also think about your environment around you as far as when it comes to fitness. Are you laying clothes out that make you feel great when you work out? I mean, there is nothing like a great workout set to make you feel a little bit more motivated to work out. Are you keeping your area clear? Do you have a designated workout space, or do you have a facility, you go to a gym that really supports you and your goals? As far as your other environments go, it could be as simple as clearing off your desk, removing the clutter, to remove the clutter in your mind, creating a little habit stack to tidy up at least once a week. I know my desk kind of explodes every week for some reason or another, but it's really about eliminating more of the tabs open in your head versus who you're surrounding yourself with, who you're watching, what you're doing as far as your movement goes, and what your work environment looks like too.
I love that too, because when you're creating this habit, you're thinking of the why and the what and how this is going to happen. And if your mind is completely cluttered and you have a messy space, it's hard to focus, like I think about just being in my home. Sometimes you got to go to like a library or a coffee shop because there's just too much to do in your house. It's too messy and you can't stay focused. Yeah. So sometimes like having that order of when you do things. So maybe like this morning I was like, I need to clean up this kitchen and this space before I can even think about recording in it, because that it does clutter your mind. And so I'm glad that you brought that up because sometimes organization is like the first key. I'm not going to feel ready to go like conquer the world if everything is a tornado up in here,
Now we just start with your counter. We all have that one counter space.
Yeah.
Where all the things just kind of gather over time. So yeah, it can definitely help remove a little bit of that clutter and help you feel ready to go because we are living in a constant state of stress, and anything you can do tiny throughout the week or even ask for help or do like a nighttime close down of the kitchen and living room before you go to bed and have everyone help with that, especially your kids. Like I said, my kids are teenagers now and they're 17 and 13 and very well equipped with working out on their own when they're feeling stressed or doing weight training together, which has been really cool to see them do that together. But it's been years of watching myself and my husband take care of ourselves too. And it's neat for them to do that now and them participating in, okay, we're going to help clean up the dishes, all the blankets that are out in the living room. We're going to fold them up, put them up before we go to bed at night. And it's just automatic now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think it really affects motivation. Not only doing something small, getting that task done, that motivates you, but also when you have that clear space, you're more motivated to tackle the next product or the next project, excuse me. When it comes to motivation, what do you recommend for clients who are just saying, I just don't have any motivation? Like, where do you begin? What's your take on that?
We're not going to be motivated every day. We're at that halfway mark of 2025, right? And we all set some really great, hopefully value-based goals at the beginning of the year. And you created some habits to help you reach those goals. Now's a good time to sit down and be like, are these still my goals? Like, am I just doing this because I set these goals and I'm just going through the motions? Is it really supporting my habit identity for who I am now? Because who I was back in January, maybe you got a new job. Maybe there's some different things happening in your life with your spouse or your kids where you need to reevaluate your goals. Like I said, make sure they're value-based and make sure you're tracking them and reevaluating what works for you. However, if you're like, no, those really haven't changed, but I'm not really being disciplined with it each month, I would go back to using some of those habit hacking tools. Think, am I tracking them? Are they still aligned with my goals? Do I need to try this at a different time of day? Am I not liking the workouts I'm doing? Maybe I need to change up my workouts and reevaluate from there and then take action, right? Last year, I shared on my podcast, every quarter I did a quarterly breakdown of my own personal and professional goals, and they changed halfway through the year. But we really focused on using the habit tracking tools, creating habit loops, and celebrating and leaning into if it's working for you or not, right? So I would really use some habit hacking tools to help you, but also reevaluate, are your goals really aligned with who you are right now too? What I love about habits is once they become ingrained in you, you are disciplined. You're not motivated, but you are a little bit more disciplined each day. Like movement for me, it's a discipline now, but also it's just something that I do no matter what. But I also listen to my body and know when to pull back. And sometimes I crave different forms of movement. I want to do this instead of that. And that's great. I think it's fun to explore different modalities and see what it does for your body, especially as you go through different seasons of life. But it all has to start with your value-based goals, your habit identity, and being okay if some of the tracking tools aren't working for you and just reevaluating where you're at right now.
Yeah. You talk about how discipline is freedom for you and not restrictive. Can you talk about that?
Like I said, over the years, movement has just become part of me. It's a discipline. And using habit hacking tools throughout the years and adjusting and changing the different modalities that I'm doing and even teaching and coaching as well, it's given me freedom because I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about it. I just move. I'm able to tune into my body and be like, okay, today it feels really good just to throw on my ruck and go walk for 3 or 4 miles today. Maybe my kid's going to do his cross country run for the day, or maybe my other kid's going to ride his bike, or maybe I want to walk the dogs, or maybe I just want to be by myself. And that's okay. and leaning into that. So I've created a discipline of movement, but it's created so much freedom because I don't have to think about it. But it creates so much more freedom in my mental health as well. I feel like when I move my body more, it clears out so much extra stuff. I'm able to hear God more clearly. I'm able to enjoy the sunshine a little bit, or really tune into a podcast or a book I'm listening to, or just listen to nothing during a cycle session or during a heavy weight training session. And even my kids, as they've gotten older, I mean, they've even realized, like, hey, Mom, have you worked out today? And because maybe I'm not being so patient today. And they've tuned into that too, which has been really cool to see. So for me, it gives me freedom because I don't have to think about it. I just do it.
I love it. And I love that you're an example of this. And that's why following a podcast is so beautiful, because not only are you going to get tips, hacks, but you're living proof of it. You're sharing your goals. You're sharing how you're pivoting. You're giving yourself grace. You're aging and shifting your values. You have older, I love following someone like you, Emily, because you're living and breathing it. And so we want our audience and community to be able to follow you as well. So can you tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, and listen to your podcast?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me on, ladies. Like, you breathed life into me this morning. I love having conversations with folks like y'all. But you can listen to How to Hack Your Health wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Make sure to, while you're listening to Ivy Unleashed, you go leave them a 5-star review while you're there as well. And you can come find me on Instagram at Emily Nichols too. Everything will be linked via my podcast as well. But we usually do 1 to 2 episodes a week with some pretty tangible, easy habit hacks for you to start implementing in your life now. And like you said, I do share a little bit of my own life as well, and trial and error. And it's been a really fun journey to grow the podcast and get to meet other wonderful podcasters like you all. So thank you again for having me on the show.
Yes. Emily had me on, I think in 2020, maybe beginning of 2024. But it was so fun. And I love being like a guest, and the guest that you have on. It's just like this. It's such an easy conversation, but like full of, like you said, tangible tips, which is our next segment, is 3 gold stars. So if you could share 3 tangible takeaways with our listeners, what would they be?
It's not your fault. Maybe your habits aren't sticking. You just have to do them differently. Kind of like what Brooke alluded to earlier. You have to have some type of cue to get it going. You got to have some type of cue, whether it's having your workout clothes set out, or just wearing them to bed if you're working out in the morning, having something on your calendar to remind you to do it. You have to have something to remind you to just go do it, and then do it. Okay. Another tangible is tracking is key if you're getting caught up in the drama in your head sometimes versus looking at the data. And finally, make it fun. Make it fun. We have to do habits differently because of all the different things going on in our life, but movement should be fun. Creating fun meals with your kids should be a really great experience. It shouldn't just be something that you have to do. It's something you get to do. And we're blessed to be able to move our bodies and be grateful to have our heart pounding in our chest and breath in our lungs. So whatever you're doing in life, whatever habits you're trying to implement, we don't have to be so serious. Let's make it a little fun.
I love that.
Those.
I mean, if it's not fun, why are we doing it? It makes sense why it's hard to stick with if you hate it. I always talk about that with exercise. If you hate going to the gym, then stop going to the gym. Find a different way. Go to a class. Go outside. Like,
move with Gold Ivy.
Yeah, we're stuck on how it should look.
Yeah.
And we can get creative with just move your body.
Move it. Whatever. I always like to reference, like, what did you like to do when you were a kid? And a lot of times someone, I loved riding my bike, or I loved dancing. I was like, well, go find like Zumba or like a fun hip hop class, or go take a spin class, or, think back to what is fun for you as far as movement, and just be able to get to do it. What a blessing.
Totally. Okay, next up, Unleashing Ivy. These are just some more questions we're curious about. I want to know a habit that has taken a while for you to implement, but since it's become a habit, it has changed your life.
What has changed? Okay. Drinking more water. It's something that I would buy all these water bottles. Speaking of water bottles again, like, we open
My
our
queen.
cabinet and like have to shut it real quick so all the water bottles don't fall. So that's me. My husband's like, girl, no more water bottles. But for me, I just wasn't drinking enough water. I haven't drank soda probably since 2015. I used to love like a crispy fountain Diet Coke, and it just wasn't settling with my stomach anymore. So I haven't had it in a while. So I started drinking more water. Well, that became really hard to do. So I started tracking it with like a water app, and that wasn't working for me. But really, what started snowballing it was having electrolytes with my water first thing in the morning before my coffee. And that just spilled into finding the perfect water bottle that worked for me. It's still a good old Stanley for me, but I ended up creating a habit stack where every time I drink a drink of water, I say an affirmation just in my head, like,
Ooh.
okay, drink your water. You're doing a good job today, Emily. Like give yourself a little grace. And I put the water bottle down, and that makes the water habit stick a little bit better, and a little multitasking, if you will, habit stacking, some affirmations.
Ooh, I like
Little
that.
sip of water. You're doing great, sweetie. I like that. What electrolyte powder did you find that you liked?
I'm using one called Relight. It's RELYTE.
I've heard of them.
Okay. My question has to do with being a mom. And, so much, your kids, like you said, are teenagers. And so much of being a parent is telling them what to do to build these habits, right? Or like do the thing that helps you not get a cavity or, whatever. I'm curious how you're transitioning into them creating the habits for themselves and them sticking to the habits without you having to constantly prompt them. Like, what has that been like for you, or any tips for parents on trying to get these, like this intrinsic motivation in these kids to do these habits and keep the habits going themselves that are good for them?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. They've seen, my husband's a marathon runner, and my youngest is a runner now too. My oldest and I, we're like, run spelled backwards is ner, and that's a ner for me. So it's leaning into what are their strengths. You're not trying to impose on them like, oh, we love running, we're all going to be a running family. And me and my oldest are like, no thanks. We both really lean into strength training, and we're playing pickleball as a family together and leaning into what our own strengths and interests are, but incorporating family time together too, where we're pretty active, where they're seeing, me working out all these years. I used to get up super early every morning and work out from YouTube and just do workouts in my living room. And it's so cute when Time Hop comes up, and they were real little and they wake up early and they would watch me work out. Yeah. Or my youngest has seen my husband train for different halves and marathons, and he's really motivated to run now too, because he wants to be like his dad. So they're obviously not going to be motivated every day. There is a difference between motivating and nagging your kids, which I've had to learn as they've gotten older, and letting them lean into what their own strengths are, but also leading by example. And you'll see them start incorporating more movement or making healthy choices in the kitchen because they've seen you do it. So you can provide a little motivation, but just make sure you're not nagging them.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah, it just becomes a part of their environment, and I think it's contagious. Okay, last question. If you could go back and tell younger Emily one thing, what age would you choose, and what would you tell her?
I would probably think back to probably when I was about 22. It was when my husband and I first got married, and it was just us and our dog. It was just the three of us just living life, and I was not working out at all. I remember my husband was like, he's always been a runner. He's like, he would just go run on his own, lift at the gym. I was done with college. I just went to like the rec center in college just to like hang out with my friends on the elliptical and like, social hour. I would tell her, girl, you don't even know how much fitness is going to change your life and how you're able to inspire others through your own fitness journey. All you got to do is not focus on the scale, not focus on working out for just vanity reasons. You need to focus on internally and how it's going to make you feel.
Oh, that's such great advice. I love that. And it takes some people a lifetime to learn that, which is so beautiful that you have your podcast and that you're sharing the real tips in time of you having these epiphanies and how it changes through the seasons, even the seasons of the year. I'm so happy you shared that, because we can pivot, we can change, we can shift our identities all through our habits, what we're doing. It really like creates that foundation of the quality of our life. And so I love that this is what you do and what you talk about. We're so grateful for your time and that you gave so many tips for our listeners. We appreciate it so much.
Well, thank you, Andrea and Brecca. It was so nice chatting with you both.
We leave every episode with a piece of gold, a quote. Would you please share yours and send us off today?
Discipline leads to habits. Habits lead to consistency. Consistency leads to growth.
This is Gold Ivy signing off.
Listen to your truth and go chase your gold. We want to thank you and encourage you to celebrate yourself for taking the time to learn and get inspired in your one beautiful life. And if this podcast means something to you, it would mean so much to us if you'd be willing to take 30 seconds to help support our mission to keep bringing you inspiring stories and guests.
First, following the podcast is important because it helps you never miss an episode. To do this, just go to the Ivy Unleashed podcast show page on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and then just tap the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow.
While you're there, if you'd be so kind to give us a 5-star rating and review and share your favorite episode with a friend, we'd be so grateful for your support.
We are thrilled you're here and are so happy that you're taking time to prioritize your wellness, self-discovery, and growth with us. Additionally, we want to remind you that this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We are not licensed therapists, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals.